It's the State of Things. I'm Krrish Hosken. Earlier this week, like many of you, I'm sure, I was out looking for a Father's Day card to send to my dad. And as I was searching the racks in a couple different stores, reading all these cheesy, cutesy cards, the question that kept popping into my head was, who writes this stuff? Well, the answer is it's people like Daniel Wallace. Daniel lives in Chapel Hill, and he runs an illustration business with his ex-wife, Karen. It's called K. Floyd. All of his designs are licensed to Recycled Paper Greetings. That's based in Chicago. Now, what is so funny about Daniel is that even he doesn't like the Father's Day cards that he himself writes. In fact, Daniel doesn't really enjoy Father's Day, or any other holiday, for that matter.
I think most, holidays are kind of hokey, and I don't like Christmas or Easter that much. It's just, I've always thought of Father's Day as an occasion to sell cards.
Why don't you tell us, are there any other great ideas or examples you have that ended up being rejected, and how do you take it personally? Does it bother you?
Well, when I'm sending cards in, I'll send in every idea that I have, regardless of whether I think it's good or not, because they might think otherwise. And usually, the ideas I like the very best, they never take.
Why? What does that say about you? Or them?
Or them. I like the one a Valentine's Day card that I did that I thought was really funny and that had a good sending occasion and everything. It was called Valentine's Day Among the Cannibals. And on the front's a picture of a couple of cannibals around their steaming pot of whatever.
Flesh.
A woman cannibal says, "He gave me his heart, but I was still hungry."
See, I love that one.
Yeah, it works. It works for me. He gave me his heart, but I was still hungry. But that did not even get tested. They did not even
right off
bother.
the bat. They saw Cannibal. It went into the trash.
Yeah. Cannibal and Valentine's is not working.
You've said throughout the interview that your job is to take something that's already sort of cliche and just brighten it up just a little bit, mm-hmm. and that you're not here to make art. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you ever feel a little cheap or dirty?
Dirty.
I guess I'm wondering.
Well, I have other interests, other artistic interests. The drawing, I've never felt like I was an artist. I've always felt I was just a person who doodled, and so I've never taken it that seriously.
And that's what they want, right? I mean, that's what.
Yeah, but a lot of the people that do cards are good artists. They actually are artists that possibly do feel cheap and dirty doing this work.
Why don't you read a Father's Day card?
Okay. It's mostly text. There's a lot of text at the top. At the bottom is a young man, clearly the son. He's maybe in college or a college graduate, and he's sitting there with a cup of coffee in his hand with a smile on his face, a little blazer on. And the top says, "Happy Father's Day, Dad. I've just been sitting here thinking of what a great dad you are and everything you've taught me. Gosh, you taught me how to swim, how to hit a fastball, how to troll for chicks at the supermarket." And you open it up and says, "Hey, Mom's not going to see this, is she?"
When she sees this, she's gonna throw a fit.
This is something that I'm glad that it works for somebody. It doesn't work for me so much. And when I'm doing things like Father's Day cards, I'm trying to put myself in the position of somebody who is looking for an interesting Father's Day card to send, and certainly, I don't think that I would ever buy this card particularly, and I'm not sure
why. Why wouldn't you buy your own? I mean,
I would buy some of my own cards, but the Father's Day cards that I do, I think they're kind of forced. They're kind of too cliched, and trying too hard to be a good Father's Day card.
A ringing endorsement of your own work.
like a lot of the other ones. This is one that I really like. It's not a Father's Day card. It's an encouragement card, and this is actually my bestseller though too. So this is one instance in which something I like is actually translated into sales.
Actually, there are other people who
like what I like. This has a cat on the front of it. The cat's wearing a little suit. He's sitting in an easy chair with a light, reading a book. And it says, "Cats have a saying, the fur always sticks to the tongue. Though this is difficult to explain in human terms, what it means, roughly, is that no matter what obstacle confronts you, no matter how difficult the task, you can lick it." And for some reason, that's really touched a lot of people.
Yeah, right. I was curious, before coming here to talk to you, do you have to be a father to write good Father's Day cards? Or do the best Father's Day cards, the people who write the best Father's Day cards, are they good dads? Do they have good relationships with their kids and their father? And
I'm not sure if a good relationship makes for a good card. I think probably, the funniest cards are probably by people who have terrible relationships with their dad or have had bad relationships with it, because funny things, I think, come from difficult times rather than... You're not going to write a funny card about a funny thing that's happened. It's got to be, you've got to take a sort of a difficult time. For instance, dads who are too strict, which is the cliche, and probably works out to be the case a lot of the time. There's one card I did where the dad is sitting at a desk and the child is standing in front of the desk like an employee, and the dad is kind of like the head of the family sort of
right.
idea, and the dad is saying, if your grades don't come up, we're going to have to let you go.
You're fired.
Which is funny somewhat, but it's it's based on the idea of a dad being sort of a cold, ruthless family operator, and so I think that the funnier cards are probably from people who have the most desperate circumstances.
so how about your relationship, if you don't mind talking about it, your relationship as a father to your children and with your own father, and how does that factor into the types of cards you write?
Well, I don't think my children will ever write greeting cards because, I'm hoping that our relationship is so good that they won't, find any need to work on it, to work it out through any kind of creative outlet.
Right.
My own relationship with my own father was difficult, to say the least, and so it is inspirational in lots of different ways.
How do you like to spend your Father's Days?
Honestly, Father's Day doesn't mean that much to me. I think it's kind of hokey. I think most holidays are kind of hokey, and as far as my heart goes, Father's Day doesn't mean a thing to me.
On that positive note, you ray of sunshine here. Why don't we end the interview? Well, Daniel, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today.
Well, thank you for talking to me.